Born prior to the First War, Jaina Proudmoore is the youngest daughter of Dalen Proudmoore, Lord of Culturas. When older, she recognized her magical talent was discovered and sent to Dalaran. She badgered Antonidas into accepting her as an apprentice. Because of her royal heritage, it was inevitable that Jaina and Prince Arthas, the heir to the throne of Lordaeron, they grew close and became a love interest. They were pretty much in love with each other, but they thought they weren't ready for each other yet. Arthas stopped the relationship so Jaina could focus on her magical studies. Shortly after, they decided to rekindle their romance, but this was during the beginning of the Scourge invasion, and that would change both of their lives forever. Many years later, Antonidas, eager to learn more about the plague sweeping northern Lordaeron, was met by the prophet, who pleaded with the wizard to take his people west to Kalimdor. Antonidas dismissed the prophet as nothing more than a madman, but Jaina, who had been watching from hiding, sensed great power in the prophet, and thought that perhaps they should heed his warnings. Antonidas continued to disagree and sent Jaina to meet. As they investigated Brill, Jaina saw some very strange things, including a necromancer and a zombie made of various parts of several corpses. They faced off against several undead enemies, and came upon a granary which contained grain infested with the plague. The crates bore the seal of Underhall and the primary distributor of grain throughout Lordaeron. Chasing the necromancer, who was actually Kel'Thuzad, formerly a member of the Kirin Tor, to Underhall, they found a mass of undead warriors waiting for them, but they fought their way through Kel'Thuzad, where Arthas killed him. Jaina and Arthas made their way back to central Lordaeron. They stopped for rest at a small town of Halfglen. However, when they arrived, they discovered that the plague-infected grain from Underhall had arrived and already been distributed amongst the townsfolk. They were transforming into the undead. Jaina reluctantly but hastily left to find Uther for reinforcements. When she returned with the silver hand at her back, Halfglen was all but destroyed and Arthas was fighting a losing battle. With Uther's help, though, they managed to push back the undead attackers. Arthas, demonized and horrified by the overwhelming forces of the undead, vowed to go to Stratholme, where he hoped to fight Mal'Ganis. Jaina and Uther followed him to Stratholme, but didn't arrive in time to stop the townspeople from eating the tainted grain. All three that knew that the people of Stratholme would soon become undead and attack them. Arthas was in favour of slaughtering the people before their transformation to purge the town, but Uther could not condone murdering helpless peoples whose only crime was being infected. Even if leaving them alive meant they would become soon a threat, when Uther refused to kill the civilians as Arthas ordered, Arthas renounced him, accusing him of treason. He demanded that the only true to the king stay with him and see the town's destruction. Jaina turned and followed Uther to Arthas' surprise. Jaina and Uther returned to Stratholme's burning ruins after Arthas destroyed it. Both were appalled at what they saw. Jaina was visited by the mysterious prophet, who had previously attempted to reason with both King Tyrannus and her mentor Antonidas. The prophet sensed her leadership abilities and urged her to take the people she could with her to the west, fleeing Lordaeron and her home country of Culturas. She realized that he had been right, and he encouraged her to gather her people and sail west for Kalimdor. Jaina decided to follow his words and made preparations. She left just as the invasion of Lordaeron began, saving thousands of citizens before they met their doom. After the apparent death of Bulvar Thordragon at the Battle of Agarathar the Roughgate, King Varian Ring prepared the forces of alliance for all-out war against the Horde. Despite to avoid a fourth war, Jaina teleported to Orgrimmar to uncover the truth of recent events in Northrend. There, she learned from Sylvanas Windrunner that the uprising broke out and that Varimathras had taken control of the Undercity. Thrall assured Jaina that the Horde had no official interest in war against the Alliance, and that he would take care of the traitor. Jaina agreed to try and stop Varian, but warned him that it would not be easy. The late High Lord was like a brother to the king. Jaina's assessment proved correct, as the forces of Thrall, attempting to regain control of the Undercity, and King Vryn, hoping to reclaim it as Lordaeron for the Alliance and bring Putress to justice, clashed at Undercity. Refusing to allow the Horde and Alliance to descend into open war, Jaina stopped the Alliance army cold, literally, and teleported them back to Stormwind. Jaina later arrived at the Frozen Halls to confront the Lich King and attempt to reason with the Dark Lord, in hopes of releasing the spirit of her lost love Arthas. She guided a smaller group of Alliance heroes through the halls of Icecrown Citadel, and eventually arrived at the halls of Reflection. Within the private chambers of the Lich King, Jaina and her troop discovered Frostmourne, the blade that stole Arthas' soul and led to the fall of Lordaeron. Jaina communed with the souls stolen from Frostmourne, and much to her surprise, Uther the Lightbringer appeared and told her a terrible truth. Not only did he inform her that Arthas was nothing but a small glimmer of light that stayed in the Lich King's wrath, but in order to protect Azeroth, the Lich King would have to be killed, and a replacement would have to make the ultimate sacrifice. Suddenly, the Lich King entered the chambers, and Uther was sucked back into Frostmourne. The Lich King coldly acknowledged Jaina while removing Frostmourne from its pedestal. The Lich King summoned Thalric and Marwyn, two captains Jaina fought alongside during the Third War. As the Lich King retreated to his private chambers and sicked the captains of her allies, Jaina remained determined to leave Arthas and pursued him as the doors behind her closed. Following the defeat of the two captains, Jaina's allies rushed to her aid, only to find her on the verge of defeat. With her former love viciously attacking her, heartbroken, Jaina and her allies fled down the hidden passage with the Lich King in deadly pursuit. As they came to a cliff, the Skybreaker flew in and rescued them at the last moment. Jaina became cautious when she found out that Garrosh is planning to conquer all of Kalimdor. People of Theramore built a highway which allowed her forces to move faster through the territory and send supplies to Alliance bases in southern Barrens. After the cataclysm, Jaina became more concerned about the rising tension between the Alliance and the Horde. She met the Thrall at Tide Fury Cove, where she told him to prevent Garrosh from starting a war. Thrall, now a shaman of the Earthing Reign, said he must undo the damage caused by the cataclysm, and that for now he must abandon his duties as war chief and a member of the Horde. When her meeting with Thrall ended, Jaina returned to the city-state of Theramore, where she was visited by Kilgos, who asked her to help him finding the missing focusing iris. During the search, Jaina and Kalek became very close friends. Pind, one of Jaina's closest assistants, learned that the Horde was planning to attack Northwatch Hold. Later, Bane Bloodhoof sent a message out Perth Stormhoof to warn Jaina about Garrosh's plans to conquer Kalimdor. Jaina and her people started the preparations for war. Jaina began contacting the allies. The ones who answered her call were Verissa Windrunner and the Silver Convent, Shandis Pheromone and her sentinels. Desperate, Jaina sent a word to Ronan and the Kirin Tor. Ronan stated that they couldn't help her because of the Kirin Tor's neutrality, but if the rest of the Council of Six agreed to help Theramore, Kirintor would answer the call as well. The council agreed, and Khadgar, one of the members of the Council of Six, sent word to Adal, who in turn sent a small force of the Shatar led by General Tiras Alan. The Horde's initial attack on Theramore was repelled, but Jaina was unaware of the secret weapon in the Horde's possession called a mana bomb. Garrosh's plan was to gather all the Alliance in one place so that he could annihilate them with all a mana bomb empowered by the focusing iris. Ronan used the portal to hide Jaina so she could escape the blast. When Jaina was awakened, she found herself radiating with arcane energy. Everything around her was ruins. All her friends, including Kindi, Sparkshine, Paint, Ronan, and Turvelosh, were dead. Furious, Jaina returned to Stormwind City, where she urged Varian Rin to attack Orgrimmar with full force. Varian was aware that the Alliance couldn't singly attack Orgrimmar with their recent losses. Jaina travelled to Dalaran in order to avenge her city and her fallen allies. She tried to convince the Kirintor to fight the Horde. She wanted to move Dalaran above Orgrimmar so they could attack with full force, but the mages of Dalaran refused to take part in a war. Seeking vengeance, Jaina started summoning water elementals to drown Orgrimmar. Thrall rushed to stop her, but she ignored him, stating that he was the only one responsible for everything. Just a moment from disaster, Kilgos intervened, stopping Jaina's plan. Jaina settled down in Dalaran, where she overcame her rage, stating that Dalaran should be a beacon of light and hope. She helped the Night Elves to increase their defences in Darnassus in order to prevent Garrosh and the Horde from stealing the Divine Bell. When it was discovered that the Blood Elves within the Kirintor had secretly helping the Horde despite the Kirintor's neutrality, a furious Jaina purged Dalaran of all Horde and allied the Kirintor with the Alliance. Feeling herself betrayed not once but now twice by the Horde, Jaina adopted a far more aggressive stance towards the Horde in general, and Garrosh in particular. In Legion, Khadgar travels to Dalaran to invite a vote to allow the Horde entry back into the Kirintor and Dalaran. He wins the vote with only Jaina and Surim Runeweaver voting to keep them out. In her rage, she announces that if the Horde will be part of Dalaran and the Kirintor, she wants nothing to do with it. Jaina then resigns her membership of the Kirintor and leaves the city, which results in Khadgar stepping in to lead the Kirintor against the Burning Legion.